Carolina statute. Because of this violation, the town has had to pay over $60,000. This expense is added to the several hundreds of thousands of dollars spent on the Florida Terrace project in spite of overwhelming protest from the citizens of Montreat. What is now becoming increasingly clear, as Dawn has made clear just now, is the enormous amount of money spent and proposed to be spent by the previous administration on projects strenuously opposed by a huge majority of Montreaters. Second, Ron's email reveals that over $7,500 was paid last year to the lawyer for the LLC, the corporation that sold the Florida Terrace property to the town. It seems extremely peculiar that the town would cover the legal expenses of a corporation. Surely the corporation's lawyer had the responsibility for seeing that the sale was made in a legal manner and that the town had not violated the legal requirements of a pre-audit certificate. Why did the town's violation of the statute mean it had to pay the corporation's lawyer? There is no indication that the town has paid for a town's employee's lawyer. And more pressing, why did the previous administration violate the pre-audit statute? What was the rush and the reason for that rush? That violation has already cost the town $70,000 with the loss of insurance coverage and the payment of the corporation's legal fees. It is a $70,000 violation and no mere technicality for Montreat taxpayers. All of this points to the depth of the mess you've inherited from the Taylor administration and previous council.
Erskine,
The time is up.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Emery.
Hello, Emery Underwood, 120 John Knox Road. I'll try to make this relatively brief. I'm just not talking right into it. Okay, I had it a little bit wrong. Anyway, Emery Underwood, 120 John Knox Road. I was wanting to suggest that the board listen carefully to whatever their attorney says with regard to what's going on tonight after our meeting, and to follow whatever the suggestion the attorney has for this, and be very forthcoming in whatever your decision is. I also listened to Tom Frist and feel most of what he said I agree with. Furthermore, I'll say about 40 years ago, I sued somebody, and it took the judge less than 30 seconds to rule in my favor. And he granted me everything I wanted except the legal fees. Thank you.
Thank you, Emery. Do what? Barry. Steve back there. The air conditioner. They're starting to freeze up here. Anyone else?
Right here.
Mary Bergman. Claire, you want to speak? Oh, okay. Thought you were being like McCaskill.
My name is Mary Brigham, and I live at 439 Kentucky Road. And I don't walk very well, but people are really walking in Montreat. And one thing puzzles me. We have, where my old driveway used to be, the most beautiful walking bridge I have ever seen. I think a class at Montreat College built it, somebody else designed it, and I've forgotten the small cost of it, but less than $500, I think. And we will someday not be having cars in Montreat. We already are almost at that point on July the 4th. I don't understand why we aren't building a beautiful walking bridge and getting people out of their cars and walking. I wish I could walk more.
Thank you, Mary. Who's next? I think everyone's had a chance to speak. Okay, Jack.
Jack McCaskill at 123 Kanawha. And the bridge is rather big, and I fought to get it down. And I didn't want the thing. And Tim came to me a month after we had the vote and said, "You're right, Jack. It doesn't need to be there in that location. And it doesn't need to be at Tennessee Road either. That's the most expensive site that there is." Now, the best one and the cheapest is a little bit further upstream. Now, that'll be 90-degree turns, and that'll keep it to be less. And it's one of the ones that was in the KCI thing. It was E. But we got this one. Now, there won't be any big deal with the wall. It's not going to be very high. And it's only high right there at the edge of the thing. It keeps going down and levels out. It's going to be a real good bridge. And more than likely with the changes that they're making, they haven't made them yet, but can be made, that they'll not be as wide. Certainly not going to be as long. And they wanted 60-foot panels. I told them they could stuff it. But anyhow, we weren't going to accept it. But if we go to a walking bridge there, we're going to lose everything we spent and lose the 80-20 possibility. And you probably want that down in the future again. And if you look at Lookout Bridge, it's already a problem. You see it get damaged almost every month. We fix it, the town fixes it, and they don't mind fixing it, but 3 days later it gets clobbered. So that's where we are on that as far as I'm concerned. The bridge would be an adequate thing to have. Safety is one of the smaller issues of it, so it'd be very good to do. Anyhow, that's all I got.
Thank you, Jack. Anyone else? Seeing no one, the public comment portion of our meeting for agenda items ends. And now we go to old business. Old business being the Lookout Road Area Preliminary Utility Service Plan. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, lost my place, sorry. I move we approve a contract for preliminary utility service, engineering and planning with McGill Associates in the amount of $8,500 and to authorize the mayor and town administrator to execute the necessary contract documents.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second from Kitty Fouché. Discussion. This is a utility plan to look at Oklahoma area up there and see what it would take to eventually put water and sewer up there. There are a good many lots that we've gotten inquiries on lately about people wanting to build up there. Is that correct, Ron?
Yes, sir, at least on that first tier, where
Okay.
Bill Allen has built his garage apartment.
Okay. So,
To clarify, this money will be recouped as people go into build, is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's the plan, is to include this as part of the assessment fee at some point in the future.
Mayor?
I was surprised that we didn't hear any public comment about this particular project tonight because we purposely delayed it from last month to this month to get the public an opportunity to have a say on this, since many of the same issues that came up with the Florida site for the town hall are the same issues that can be talked about for building on Oklahoma, where you're going to have a lot of traffic coming up on Lookout. And you're going to have increased traffic there, and that certainly was one of the things I heard a lot about during the Florida Terrace Town Hall site location pick. I will vote against this at this particular time because I wish to wait until the petitioner actually comes forward with the petition to do this and entertain it at that point in time. And for me, it also is connected with the next item on the agenda of the Texas Road Bridge project, that if we're going to be having increased activity on Lookout going up towards Oklahoma, we're going to be having increased traffic going in that direction, up by the Moore Center, up by Anderson Auditorium. We're going to be having a lot of construction vehicles trying to make that turn on Lookout that could cause a problem. Also, if we start having people build up on Oklahoma, those are lovely sites, and I do hope the time will come that we can have people enjoy their property up there. But I think we need to have the proper infrastructure in place before we encourage that to take place. So I will be voting no at this time.
Thank you, Mary. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Ann?
I'm inclined to put this off until we get this bridge and the town hall thing worked out. So, I mean, my suggestion would be to move this out probably 4 to 6 months and then reconsider it at that point in time. That's where I would go. So, that's sort of where I am on it at this point.
Ann?
I think it's important to remember that in the documents that we had from McGill, it's going to take 6 months to a year to actually do this study. So that and that was their comment, that was their time frame that they gave us.
When do we have to pay the money?
The plan?
Yeah.
Once the work's completed.
So it's not
That's
immediate. I did want to also add that I did talk with Richard DeBose about this very issue because I know it showed up on our agenda, and I think that's when it showed up on the MRA agenda as well. And I understand the council will be talking about it this coming week, your board of trustees, that's what it is, yeah. And I want to read to you some comments he shared with me. First one is, I very much appreciate the town council's outreach and communication following the proposal made at the town council meeting to conduct a study of the Lookout Oklahoma hillside on the feasibility and costs of possible development. Personally, I am in favor of conserving as much of the natural beauty that surrounds Montreat as is possible and practical. I am especially mindful of the importance of areas adjacent to and/or including the most heavily used and beloved trails on MRA property. The MRA board is the final authority in matters of disposition of property. Appropriately, the board's conversations on property focus on advancing the MRA's missional interests, which include protecting its financial investments to support the conference center's ministry. The board will be informed of the possibility of the town study at its next meeting, which is this coming weekend, March 13th through the 15th. This property, you can tell MRA owns a lot of this property currently. And I think it's important to know that the Lookout Trail head is in part of this property, and that's what I think a lot of people are concerned about conserving. So I know we have been in preliminary conversation and eager to hear what the MRA has to say about it. Hopefully they'll want to take care of this, get it ready to go in case people are getting ready to develop. So I'm ready to get the study underway because nothing is going to happen overnight in this issue.
Anyone else? Bill, you were going to say something?
It's all right, I'm cool.
Mr. Mayor, could I just
Sure.
make one comment? Just as a reminder, I want to point this out. As has been said, it takes roughly about 6 months to a year to pull one of these plans together. The issue, as y'all know in our ordinances, we do not allow well and septic. In fact, Bill Allen was one of the last to be able to put a septic field in Montreat before the ordinance was approved. What that means is you can have someone in this area apply to the town for a permit, which we will not be able to grant until we can have a plan put in place to extend water, sewer, and roads to this area. The reason this is important is because if you look at this right here, this is where our water line stops. It's about it. The Crooks lived in that house when I was growing up. I'm not sure who owns it now, but the water line stops there, and then it hooks back into Arkansas here. So at Arkansas and Lookout, there is no sewer in this area except for down on Arkansas. So you are talking about a major project to bring water, sewer to this area. And as Commissioner Vinson pointed out, it is not going to happen overnight. And you have at least one lot that is actively looking at the possibility of building. So I just want to throw that out there.
And I'll just speak, Tim.
Okay.
I have no problems with people building on their property. I think it's a good place to start building in Montreat with everything being put into place. I still think that we should follow sort of the guidelines that we've had in the past so that there are no misunderstandings, and that we should wait until the petitioner comes to us and ask us to do this rather than being proactive, so that there are not differences of opinion between the public and the town council, and that we don't have differences of opinion. And if this individual or individuals would like to come to us next week with this petition, I would view this in a different light. But I would prefer to be started at that point rather than initiated by the town council.
Not at this time.
I'm speaking for him, but he can't. Sorry, Richard.
Have a motion, have a second. Had discussion. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
Ayes carry 4-1. All right, the next item on the old business agenda is the Texas Road Bridge project. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, we can approach this two ways. I can go ahead and make a motion. We can discuss it a bit beforehand before making a motion, since it was flagged for some discussion.
I talked
before
with Ron
motion.
about this afternoon, and according to our traditional rules of procedure, we need a motion and a second to proceed.
Well, we do have the ability to do that differently, but I will be glad to make a motion so that if that seems to work best for this group. And actually, the motion that I would like to make is that we move forward with the Texas Road Bridge project by choosing one of the 4 options provided by KCI Associates in a letter dated February 4th, 2016, and to make a final decision on one of these 4 options at our April meeting. So in a sense, what I'm doing is I say that we move forward with the bridge. We still leave some room until our April meeting to make a final decision on which of the options.
I have a motion from Mary Standard, a second from Ann Vincent.
And I'll speak to the,
You made the motion, you can speak
since I made
first.
the motion, I think that's what I'm obligated to do. We've heard a lot of discussion, pros and cons, over the past few months and the years. We've heard from people residents who lived on the east side of Flat Creek. They have requested a bridge be built for their safety. We have heard people from Montreat College with an official opinion as they grow and as they're rebuilding their dormitories there, hoping to build their traditional campus with over 2,000 people on campus here and at Black Mountain, that they support a bridge in Texas Road. Our police chief has stated that a bridge is needed for public safety. That's the responsibility of a town council, is to provide safety for its community. The bridge, we've heard a lot about the bridge. We've heard that it's going to be 13.5 feet high. We've heard that it's 12 feet high. We've heard that it's a monolithic bridge, 8 feet high. We really need to get this nailed down as to what it actually looks like. We have multiple options available to us that KCI, the most interested in being a possible lowering of the bridge. in the same location. We've heard other options tonight as well. This is an 80-20 grant set up by the state of North Carolina and the Federal Highway Department, designed particularly for small communities like ours to take advantage of this. We've heard of the cost of the building, cost of the bridge being over $1 million to the Montreat taxpayer, but the actual costs out of money collected off Montreat property taxes is in the range of around $300,000. And as we discuss this further, we can go through each of the options of what they will cost to the town of Montreat taxpayer. I alluded to this earlier in the fact that a letter that was sent to Mr. Don Reed in response to some correspondence that he had with Mr. Donnie Brew, who's one of the officials with the Department of Transportation, is that if the no-build option is taken by this council, that money will never be available for a bridge to be built in that location. That's binding on all future councils, as I understand it. Is that correct, Ron, as you read it and understand it?
I would have to read it again, but I do remember Donnie Brew making a statement that that money would not be made available.
Again, so I mean, independent of that, I think we have moved to a point that we have multiple options available to us. So I move that we adopt, that we go forward and in April decide, make a final decision.
Mary? No, go ahead.
Well, from what all I've heard, I'm convinced that we're not ready to vote yet.
Bill?
Yeah, I guess it's pretty complicated. I'm a little ticked off at KCI for not putting this other option in before I ever got involved in it at this point. So, yeah, I'm with you. I don't think we're ready to make. I think we need more. So I think we need a committee to study this thing that's out there at this point and make a decision that way. So anyway, that's kind of where I am. I think I would vote no at this point.
Ann?
Well, I think the motion as it's been rewritten is we're not making an immediate decision tonight. It gives us time to look at what's going on. I think we have been putting this off now for, 5 years or so. I think for the betterment of the community, we do need to move forward with getting the bridge in place. I think KCI has studied all of the options that were available. I believe we started out with A through E and narrowed it down now to 4. Some of those options are going to be more expensive than the others. Anytime you have to hire a company to come in and redesign a bridge, you're going to be costing more money. I'm having trouble hearing people say, no, we shouldn't do this because we're going to spend too much money. But yet all the options I'm hearing from some of these people is it's going to cost